The world has changed vis-a-vis President Trump. We have the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years. If your deal doesn't make money, metaphorically speaking, you ought to blow your fucking brains out. I want to be known as the greatest that ever lived high-performance coach. Seeing kids that should have rolled down the inside of their mother's leg make $10 million is a fucking high like you wouldn't believe. What were you doing other than jacking off at 17, 18, 19? Nothing. Being a high-performance person doesn't mean you're a good person. You're Attila the Hun and Adolf Hitler. I don't give a shit. They used to stand me in the corner. They said I was retarded. Then they put me in the fucking closet, and I would be in there 4, 5, 6 hours till school was over, piss my pants, shit my pants, because they wouldn't let me out.
And you're glad that happened.
Fucking right I am. Otherwise I'd be like these snowflake cunts. A snowflake is a kid that melts under pressure. They don't lack education, they lack leadership.
People are asking me, when is Dan Pena going to Washington?
I'd probably make a better Secretary of Treasury, but I'd like to be Secretary of Defense. If you like me at the end of this talk, I did something wrong. Love is great, but I don't need it. Respect will do.
They say that the human race is doomed, that we have lost touch with our true nature, that the media has corrupted us, and that the planet has no future. I disagree. I believe that humanity is full of hope, and that our salvation lies within each one of us. My name is Brian Rose, and my job is to listen, the oldest method of learning known to man. Each week I seek out individuals that are changing the world, people who are living and thinking in a different way. Their stories will challenge your beliefs, make you question your choices, and perhaps inspire you to change. I never planned on doing any of this, but now I can't stop. Join me on this mission and make humanity something we can all be proud of.
It's time for you to man up, to once and for all tell your mind who the fuck is boss. I need a fucking answer. What's it gonna be? I don't know what it is about this fucking sport, but it attracts people that really need to do deep work on themselves.
I failed in this city. All these bad memories. I never really felt like I gave a fuck about me or my life. I almost killed myself, like.
Think about something that is going to drive you when it really hurts. Some kind of demon you want to fight.
This is not Pussy Man, this is Iron Man. Under pressure reveals true character. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be in Chattanooga, May 20th or what?
Yes, the $50 billion man is back, Dan Pena. If you haven't been following London Real for the past few years, this man has mentored me with a love-hate relationship. He lives in a castle in Scotland, and he's here to make you rich. And he's got a lot to say in this episode, very new stuff, how you can make money in the Trump administration, why you are also a snowflake, and how he is soon to be the $1 trillion man. He's celebrating 25 years of QLA, of him teaching his quantum leap advantage. And of course, Dan never ceases to shock and awe anyone listening. He's talking about global warming, how we need to step up to the plate, go big. And as usual, you will get a massive dose of motivation by listening to Dan. And yes, I still both love him and hate him. Inside London Real Academy, we are working on taking you to the next level as well. We've got our Broadcast Yourself course, our Business Accelerator, and our Speak to Inspire coming up very soon. We've also got free courses on londonreal.tv. Check it out, and I'll see you on the inside.
London Real doesn't stop when the conversation ends. You see, that's when we get started. Because everything begins with a thought, and then comes the action. The London Real Academy is our global transformation platform. Here we bring together thousands of students from over 75 countries. Whether you want to build a profitable business from your passion, or learn to speak to inspire, or broadcast yourself with your very own podcast, or accelerate your life to become a high-performance person, we have the online accountability course and personal mentoring program that will make your dream a reality. Join us, and we'll take your life to the next level, together. Our next accelerator course is starting soon.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Dan Pena, the American-born businessman, entrepreneur, mentor, and creator of QLA, the Quantum Leap Advantage methodology responsible for the creation of over $50 billion of wealth since 1993. Born in the Barrio of East LA, you now live in a storied 15th century castle in Scotland, and for the past 25 years, you've been teaching your mentees and devotees a style of high performance, achievement, and super success in business and all aspects of their life. You were recently featured in the London Real original documentary film, The $50 Billion Man, which tells the story of our complicated relationship over the past 4 years. Our conversations on London Real have been watched over 7 million times. Dan, welcome back to London Real.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me again.
It's great to have you here. It's been just over 2 years since you were last here. What has changed in this world, in your world of QLA, in the past 2 years?
Well, first of all, your studio. I mean, it's overwhelming. I mean, there's, other than maybe this small room that we're in, which is more or less what your total looked like from 4 years ago, but you've changed, and the world has changed vis-a-vis President Trump. And 2016, about the last time that I was here, I predicted that when he was elected, he was going to rock the financial world and it would never be the same. Now, I don't agree with everything President Trump says, but he has changed it. And even if he doesn't get reelected, finance in London is different because of him. We have the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years, not because of him. And we are in the 9th year, arguably, of the second longest bull market in the history of our planet. 9th year. In about 5 months, it'll be the longest. The interest rates are still rock bottom. So I don't see anything changing short of some calamity, a war with Russia, which President Trump is playing kissy-face with, even though he's carrot and stick, or something like that for it to end. Interest rates have got to go up, in my opinion, at least 500 basis points before it's going to make a difference in the city, which is the financial district here or Wall Street. 500 basis points. And the world has just changed. The other thing that's changed is that the kids, and I call you all kids, as you know, because I'm either old enough to be your father or grandfather. The kids are more aware of how information is almost instantaneous now. Even 4 years ago when I first was here, even though the internet was instantaneous, but now everybody, just as we were talking before we went on live, everybody and his dog is listening, watching their handheld device, and things that happen that are bad are spread, they go viral. And I think they go more viral when something's bad than when something's good. Like people like to chase a fire engine to see where it's going, see what's on fire. And currently, with President Trump, he gives them a lot to watch because he's president, but he's a businessman and promoter first. And as you know, I knew him in a previous lifetime, many years ago. I haven't talked to him in many, many years. And but that has changed, and it's probably the biggest change. Just as an aside, as we spoke about at dinner the other night, who would have thought that the President of the United States would have been sitting down with the rocket man from North Korea? Under any set of circumstances, even though they poo-pooed it, and maybe nothing's going to come of it. But before, everybody was too afraid, well, if something happens or it doesn't happen, what's my legacy going to be? Because 4 or 5 presidents have had the chance to either meet with him or his father over the last 30, 40 years.
And why couldn't they?
It's not that they couldn't.
They didn't want to.
They didn't want to.
Too scared. Of the repercussions of something going wrong and looking bad.
Yeah. And they stop playing to win and they start playing not to lose.
Right. Trump looks at the world as a businessman.
Correct.
Which is unlike any president probably 50, 100 years or ever. And how does that mean he looks at the world differently? Apparently, when he was in North Korea, he said, or in Singapore, he said, think of the beachfront property.
Correct, yes.
And maybe the leader knows that, and maybe he wants to meet with him. But like, what's that like looking through a businessman's lens at negotiations, at thinking about a future of capital appreciation?
Well, it's not dissimilar to QLA. And in fact, there couldn't be a better environment for QLA than President Trump being in office. But you have to be willing to walk away. You have to be willing, and with the first time that they canceled the summit in Singapore was called the takeaway.
This is standard business negotiations.
This is standard 101 negotiation.
Taunt them first.
Yeah, and then if they don't like to walk toward the door and be willing to walk away, and the other presidents think, rightly or wrongly, that there's too many political ramifications to do that. You know, there's NATO and this, that, and the other thing. Speaking of NATO, people have complained about NATO for 40, 50 years, that they're not, you know, it's not effective, it's not this, it's not that, going back to Bosnia, etc. Well, Trump's making them pay now, you know, instead of the U.S. paying a vast majority. And he goes out of his way to name the 2 or 3 countries that pay their fair share. And there aren't that many.
He's playing hardball.
He's playing hardball.
And they're not used to it. I remember in the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton at the time, she brought the reset button over to the Russians and said, we're pressing the reset button. They looked about as impressed as nobody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the way you do business,
No.
right? You go hard.
And just like, speaking of the Obama administration, when he drew the red line in the sand for Syria, these things we will not allow, and we will take action. I.e. gassing his own people, and within a few weeks he gassed and killed a bunch of his own people, and we did nothing. Now, I can guarantee that if and when Trump draws a red line, he's going to do something about it. Now, he's had a waffle on the wall because Congress isn't behind the wall. Of course, I thought of a way to...
What do you think about the wall?
Well, I'm a first-generation Mexican-American. My mother and grandmother swam across the Rio Grande River in 1924. My mother is a little 3-4-year-old, and my grandmother is, 40-something-year-old woman. And I think we should have the wall because unfortunately, there's collateral damage with any decision you make. But there's collateral damage in the old cheap cliche, you got to break eggshells to make an omelet. But and I have had relatives that were illegal. But I think the overwhelming good is that to keep drugs out, and I'm not so sure that I would be called an isolationist as a lot of people call Trump. But we have had isolationists in the past. Wilson didn't want to get in World War I, and they called him an isolationist. FDR didn't want to get in World War II, they called him an isolationist. Ultimately, we were drug into the war. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, the United States is the leading power, and they're looked to for guidance and leadership. And in my opinion, we haven't gotten it in the previous 2 administrations under Obama, 4 and 4. The Bushes could have been stronger, and Clinton could have been stronger. But Trump is trying to make up, and it's difficult, for 40 or 50 years of non-action, non-leadership in one term. And in my opinion, hopefully he'll get a second term.
Will he be reelected?
Oh, if he doesn't get impeached, abso-fucking-lutely. I knew he was going to get elected the first time because all the people I talked to around the cities that I post on my website, those 20, 30-minute talks, every single person almost said they were going to vote for Trump, but they were afraid to say it.
And this is you with your finger on the pulse.
Correct.
You travel to cities all around the world.
Correct.
And you meet with Joe Schmoes.
Correct.
I mean, they got to have enough to get in the door, but you meet with people of all different types.
Correct.
And they told you in confidence that they wanted him in.
They were going to vote for him. They were afraid to talk about it at work. Some sons that still lived at home, which is too many of those, but that's a whole other subject.
We'll get to the snowflakes.
Yeah, we're telling their parents, afraid to tell their parents that they're going to vote for Trump because the parents might not be Trump supporters. But now it's even stronger. And now the people, vis-a-vis the rallies that he's having, they're not afraid to say what the hell they think. And
what about the porn stars and the infidelities and the payoffs, and now he's separating kids from their parents?
And you're talking about all presidents for the last 100 years, the same. Kennedy builds a tunnel under the fucking White House to get his fucking hookers in and out. I mean, I can go on and on and on, okay? But now it's because of the iPhone, etc. Everybody knows about it. And the people, when I was at the last seminar and the seminar before that, I said, is there any guy here that stands at the urinal to pee that wouldn't like to do the things that Trump said he's done to these fucking porn stars? Not one goddamn guy said no. One black guy said, I want to fuck him savagely, like an animal. That's how guys think.
And that's why they're letting him slide on all this stuff.
They don't give a shit.
Okay. And that'll all
He's
pass.
going to crush the next one.
Okay.
He's going to fucking crush.
And that's crazy. Nobody would have ever expected this a year ago.
Never underestimate how wrong you can be.
Okay.
I never thought I'd see this again. And now making money is better than the 80s. And they say my generation ripped the ass out of the world because of the 80s. And I was proud to be one of those that ripped it. But it's better this time around.
Talk about a bull market, because a lot of these kids don't know what the hell you're talking about, Dan. Yeah. The times have been good for the last 9.5 years. Look, I was on Wall Street. I saw interest rates go up and down, good times, bad times, cycled every 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. A bear market ain't a lot of fun, right?
Nope.
Last time we saw it was a bad one, 07, 08, 09. This has been bullish. The stock market's up, interest rates low, unemployment low, Trump doing everything to make that keep going. And you always say, like, what are you going to say to your grandkids later in life when they say, Grandpa, what did you do in the great bull market of the 2020s?
Yeah, other than have your thumb up your ass and think about it.
So what should people at least know what it is? And what should they do?
A bull market is stock prices generally across the board, all indices, which describes what we have today, going up. And not at the historic rate of 6-7%, which if you invested your money 20 years ago, when the Dow hit 25,000 the first time, 4 or 5 months ago, 20 years ago would have been 2008-ish. You would have doubled your money by 5 months ago, which is about 6.78 or 7% per year, okay? But so what? So if you had $1 million in the market, and I know $1 million sounds a lot to a lot of people, you had $2 million. Well, adjusted for inflation, that doesn't mean shit. Because adjusted for inflation, you didn't get that 7%. You got maybe even negative, depending on what you want to rate inflation at. A bull market is housing prices continue to rise. Commodity prices continue to rise. Virtually, interest rates stay low or relatively low. But interest rates, as I said, in our league can go up at least another 200 or 300% or 200 or 300 basis points, which means 2 or 3%. And it's not going to affect anything. Right now, I've got kids right now that are financing deals in Europe at 2.6, 2.7%. If your deal doesn't make money paying 2.5%, I mean, you should go blow your brains out. And my lawyers say, metaphorically speaking, of course, I would never want anybody to take their own life. So I really don't want you to off yourself. But I mean, Dan.
So this is an unprecedented time to get cheap capital and go and make your mark on this world.
Correct.
But you got to go out and do this deal. You got to find it. You got to pitch it. You got to do some graft, which is what you kind of teach. But you got to go out and do it on your own, right?
Correct.
No one's going to pay you this big salary or whatever just because it's in the bull market.
All that we're discussing or QLA is free on my website. Remember, 99.9% of everybody that has benefited from QLA, Quantum Leap Advantage, is I've never met. And when I was in the Netherlands a few days ago speaking, I asked the audience of a few hundred, and about 30 or 35% of them, a third roughly, had heard about me, okay? And I didn't know these people, you know? And but now the other 2/3 have heard about me. But it's free. And as I told you several years ago, I decided to take the last excuse away from the kids that I don't know how to do it. And then since I last talked to you, last year we published a thing called QLA for Dummies. if you're brain dead, retarded, I don't mean in a real brain dead or retarded way, but I mean if you're just slow and stupid, we got QLA for dummies. And yet they still email the website, the webmaster. Oh, I see those things, but where do I start? And I write back, fucking moron. Number 1 is where you start. Then go to number 2 and number 3. Some people, most people in my judgment, don't really want to be successful if it takes any sacrifice whatsoever.
Even the guys that make it to your castle,
correct,
and fork over the 20 grand,
correct,
even they don't want to be successful.
Well, once they think or once they see what it costs in human resources, fuck that ain't for me. We have a 40% dropout rate the first year, and we had 2 people. Well, one got thrown out, and one left the seminar. This last seminar.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Okay,
and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what you've been doing the last 2 years at universities. Let me finish up with Trump. Is he going to meet with Putin?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and so he's playing that, starting to play that poker game now,
correct,
or has been playing it for a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
He's going to get reelected, in your opinion?
Yep.
What people are asking me, when is Dan Pena going to Washington?
I would go if I was asked in the second term.
Okay.
If asked, I will serve.
Okay. And that's it. You're not going to say
And I'd like to be. I'd probably make a better Secretary of Treasury from my background, but I'd like to be Secretary of Defense. But if Mad Dog Mattis is still there, that's fine. But I believe, I know I'd be a better Secretary of Treasury because I understand, I understand Business 101 like the president does. And but a lot of politicians are afraid of me. A lot of the, although Joe Rogan was nice enough to have me on the show, but a lot of the big guys that have millions of followers are afraid what I might do. Yes, I have choked people, and I have done shit like that, but I haven't done it in a long, long time. But if somebody said something I didn't like, I'd fucking smack them right on the fucking screen. I don't give a shit. What are they going to do to me?
What are they going to do to you?
Well, I'm tougher than 99% of them. So what are they going to do? Take my money? They can't take my money. So what are they going to do to me? But I mean, the guys like you that have big followings have big responsibilities. Like I told you at dinner the other night. I mean, and the guys that have the millions of followers do have responsibility. But as you well know, I'm the only guy out there that's giving it all away free. When so-and-so has a sale on Valentine's Day, 50% off, what was it worth the day before Valentine's? Fuck all.
And so you argue you got no book, you got no courses, you got the seminar.
Yeah, I do.
But besides that, you're one of the few people up there that are getting up and talking without an agenda to sell them.
Yeah, and I talk for free. When I was in the Netherlands a couple of days ago, they were stunned that I was out, and I said I'm here for free as a favor to Michael. And I thought that the cheap Dutchmen were all going to have a shit their pants.
Why do you do this for free, Dan?
Because it's the best way. And this is a good segue into universities. It's the best way that I found to get my message out, and I don't need the money.
And why is your message important?
Because I think as a race, or Homo sapien is through. The Romans had their day, the Egyptians had their day, the Athenians had their day, blah, blah, blah. We've had our day. We're on the decline. And I believe with all my heart, although Elon Musk never told me anything about this, I've never met Elon Musk, he knows it's over because he wants to be on the ship to Mars and either die on the way to Mars or die on Mars.
You want to go with him?
Yeah, I'd go in a heartbeat.
Don't you want to stay here and make this planet a success?
No, I mean, that's why I give everything for free. You don't need me.
Okay, but you want this planet to win.
Financially, I want to create wealth, generational wealth, because it's possible, just like I did. And just like I've taught, for our 25th anniversary, which just happened a few weeks ago, we've run statistics and stuff. And I clearly underestimated the impact that I've had, okay? We've touched at least 1 to 3 million people, okay? And this is only based on the response we get in, so it may be more.
I mean, through London Real, you've probably touched even
exactly.
more than that.
But I mean, and we've created at least 1 million millionaires, 1 million or 2 million, half a millionaires. We have, of course, we have the biggest deal in recorded history with Klaus Kleinfeld, $500 billion NEOM. which is now going to be about $2.7 trillion because the IMF and the World Bank and
former mentee of yours,
former mentee of mine,
CEO of Alcoa,
correct,
now is building this city in the desert, which will be the Dubai of Saudi Arabia, only bigger.
It's 25,000 square kilometers of the next century city, the city for the 22nd or 3rd century.
When are you going to change your name to the $1 Trillion Man?
Well, I just had some clothes made that say $50 billion man in my pinstripes. So I knew as soon as I had those made, fucking Klaus does a $500 billion deal. But I'm happy, Klaus, that you did it, though. But we have, as I told you, I think at dinner, we're closing in on $1 trillion. So I want one or two more big hitters, which I told you some of the guys have gotten back to me that from my former mentees didn't allow me to use their name, that they would consider using their name now.
The bigger you get, the probably more likely they are.
Correct. now, you know, we don't stand out so much.
Right.
And so in the next few months, I'm going to make it a point to meet with these guys. And if they say yes, then I'm going to be the $1 trillion man.
Okay. It doesn't flow as well, but maybe I'll get used to it.
No. Yeah, I'm kind of used to $50 billion myself.
Now, let me ask you a question. Elon Musk says he wants to get the hell off of this planet and die either on Mars or on the way to Mars because he looks at this planet and he looks at the human race and he says that we're fucked.
Correct.
You are going out of your way. You're spending, your last 25, 50 years on this earth, whatever it is, traveling the world on your own dime.
Correct.
Getting thrown out of universities, getting never asked back to universities, trying to get these people to be high performance people.
Correct.
Do you want them to make this world a better place too?
No, I'm
That's a real
selfish.
question.
No, I'm selfish
I know you're
because
selfish.
I want to be known as the greatest that ever lived high performance coach. Okay. And I know that will have an impact, but see, QLA isn't for everyone. Our market is less than about 800,000 people. 0.001% are willing to make these sacrifices, in my opinion. And so I want to be known. So when the Martians come down, whoever, and they go through the archives of YouTube, and they say, who is this fucking psychopath, this old man who lives in a castle? And so did Socrates make the world better? Did Moses? Did Christ? Did Buddha? Did arguably?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so I'm happy to be in that category. Maybe. Okay. Did they create any wealth? No. Did they create knowledge? Yes. Well, I'm creating wealth and knowledge, but my knowledge is very pinpointed. Almost all the arrows in my quiver are vis-a-vis creating generational wealth. And in the last 2 or 3 years, we've gotten a higher percentage. A good bit of it is because of Trump, okay? Because the coffers, not just because they're moving businesses back to the United States, they're making loans more. I mean, I talk to senior bankers. I've got to get $5 billion out the door.
They're optimistic.
They're optimistic.
And they feel like Trump will protect them.
And he will.
And he will.
He will. Maybe, I don't know if you can protect people to a fault. I know when you have kids, as you do now, I mean, you can protect kids to a fault. Of course, that's why we have snowflakes, because they've led a bubble wrap life.
I want to get into the snowflakes, because we weren't talking about snowflakes 2 years ago. And we can get into you predicting my kids happening and all that other stuff. So, all right, so the final thing. So is it possible that you teach these high performers to go out there and create generational wealth? Is it possible that they at the same time can do that while saving the planet and Elon stays here? Yeah,
make the money first and then save the planet with the money that you've made.
Okay, but you don't have a problem saving the planet?
No, I don't. The odds are very low. I'm an optimist, but the odds are very low. And we are past it. We just are. I mean,
is it irreversible, even with all of your high performers out there?
Yeah, but let's say that I've got 1 or 2 or 3 million high performers out there. There's almost 8 billion people now.
Yeah, but they scale these.
They scale. But I mean, I'm an eternal optimist. But again, first, I want to be known as the greatest that ever lived. And if they save the world, in addition to that, Allah be with them. And I take a lot of heat about saying Allah all the time now. Because now they say, what do you really mean? Are you a Muslim now? And even if I was, fuck you. I mean, but I'm not. But I say that. I say Buddha, Allah. Well, I try to cover all the bases now. And but they can. But they're still weenies now. You know, I don't know if I told you at dinner. We're not into snowflakes yet. Okay.
No, not yet. I want to finish with this Earth thing here.
Okay.
And then we'll go there. So you're
and we're gonna talk about global warming.
Yeah. Let's talk about
okay.
it. Because
I've done some stats since.
We got to talk about global warming because at the movie premiere we had a Q&A afterwards, and I mean the whole place nearly turned into a riot, which is pretty standard for you. They almost burned the place down. People walked out, and of course you talked about global warming. That clip went crazy viral. It's watched millions and millions of times. I want to talk about it, but before we get on the global warming, you're not against saving the planet.
No.
And, you're not against being nice to animals.
Oh, no. I'd rather be nice to animals than save the planet.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, which is weird.
Yeah.
And you might even want to, so you're not again, just because you don't believe in global warming doesn't mean you not be thinking about the animals or the plants.
No.
Or the ecosphere. You want the plant to survive.
No, if the animals could survive without the humans, I'd want that first.
You love the animals.
Yeah, at a time in my life, a few decades ago, I left all my money, when I had my first trust set up, to prevention for cruelty to animals. And the lawyer said, Dan, you're only 30-something. I mean, you're going to change your mind. And I did. So now we only have a portion, but animals are abused. I mean, people are abused, and it's awful. But to me, it's worse when you abuse animals because they have no recourse, or they have little recourse.
And so that you believe in that.
Oh, yeah.
And this is after you got back from the safari in Botswana and shot all those animals. And I watched that video footage last week, and you lined up like about 12 or 14 animals over your 15-day thing, and you had all these corpses.
Correct.
And at some point you said, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, it took a little bit after that.
Okay.
And it wasn't because shortly after that I got run over by the buffalo, and that didn't change my mind. Shortly thereafter, I had opportunities to kill big male lions. I mean, from here to that wall, and I didn't. And then I had a couple other incidences where I couldn't shoot them anymore. And then I went.
Couldn't pull the trigger. That's not like you.
No, I looked. I saw in their eye like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? They didn't say that, but that's the feeling I got. And so then I stopped.
And so you do have a heart.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's in there someplace.
So you believe in saving the animals. What about the plants? What about all that stuff? The Amazon forest? Maybe.
I'm not into that as much.
Okay. All right. I just had to clear this up.
Okay.
So the high performers, the wealth creation, but if they can do that and save the animals, you might be okay with that scenario. Okay. Let's talk about global warming, then I want to get to the snowflakes.
Okay.
We were on stage, and a woman got up and asked you a question about global warming, and you went on to explain why you don't believe in it. You said you you said you got some new evidence recently.
Yeah.
What happened that night?
Okay.
Why did that clip go viral?
The lady said, I have children and you got a few bucks, and I want to leave the world a better place for my kids, essentially what she was saying.
Which is a good question.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fair enough. Yeah, I like my children. I want my children very much, but I realize it's up to them. It's not up to me. See,
You're one of the biggest force multipliers in the world.
Yeah, but
I don't have a following.
but it's up to the individual. I can give you all the information, but if you don't pull the trigger and take action. So getting back to the lady, and I said, I went through my story, which is not a story. Sally and I are in the South Pole, 2011, and we're there, and there's a big $500 million scientific station there that's mostly funded by the U.S. government. And the scientists came over and gave us presentations, and they had they had drilled 5,000 or 6,000 or 7,000 cores in the South Pole. Not many people realize the South Pole is on a mountaintop, so you're up about 12, 13, 14,000 feet. So a lot of people suffer from oxygen deprivation. Didn't bother Sally and I. And so he's going through these cores, and then he says, in 55,000 years ago, it was 1.96 degrees warmer Celsius than today. And stop. Let's go back to that. How do you know that? And then all these MIT, Caltech, all these guys, because of this, E equals bullshit. We know for absolutely within 1,000,000% it was warmer.
But no one's denying
that.
No,
Wait. Okay. And we all know it's cyclical.
Yeah, we know it's cyclical.
Okay, and then what about global warming? Everybody laughs all at the same time. It's a load of shit. I mean, we could have predicted this global warming 100 years before, but nobody did because nobody figured out a way to make any money out of it.
Okay, but when people talk about global warming, they're talking about the human being accelerated version of the warming. No one's saying that it's not cyclical.
No. They
one's
say
saying
it
that.
has nothing to do with the hairspray, the ozone, nothing. Zero. In fact, if you read Scientific American, like the good MIT guy you are, you would have known 3 months ago, they said for the first time in 40 years, the ozone, what do you call it, is thickened up again.
Yeah, the ozone has, but that's a little different than carbon dioxide emissions. And
They
all that
also
stuff.
said that we've known for at least 50, 60, 70 years that every square meter on the ground, on the planet, has between 10 and 15,000 times more energy from the sun than is needed. 10 to 15,000. How does it vary? You're closer to the sun, it's 15,000. Farther from the sun, 10,000.
Okay. What
Okay,
does that mean?
now-
There's tons of energy on this.
Tons
planet.
and tons and tons. Okay. The first electric car was in 1846, I believe. I don't believe, I know. 1846. Do you think if we really wanted fucking electric cars, we couldn't have them? It was 35 or 40 years before gasoline cars. But now, since then, and then of course, then Sally and I went to the North Pole.
Okay.
Got
The electric
re-
car thing is because of the oil business and all that, right?
Correct. I'll get back to
Okay,
that.
we'll get back to
so
that.
then we go to the North Pole, and now there's Russian scientists. Hardly anybody spoke English. Okay. And we got remarried at the North Pole, and we talked to the scientists, and same questions, same answers as we got from the South Pole. And global warming, they all laughed, drinking vodka. Everybody's drinking when on the North Pole, the Russians. And Russians do like to drink vodka, as they say. And they were saying, yeah, it's just a load of shit. Everybody knows it's a load of shit, and we've known it for years. When I was in the energy business, and forevermore I'm be an oil man, okay?
You are an oil man.
Well, an oil man. Everybody knew that when people will take more seriously global warming is when Aramco, Saudi, the kingdom, runs out of oil. Now, 2 years ago, Aramco, which is a petroleum company of the Saudi government, announced they're going to go public. This was when oil was $28 a barrel. Now, why would smart guys, MIT kind of guys, say they're going to go public at the lowest oil price in the last 30, 40 years? Why?
Why?
Because when you go public, and they're going to sell 2% of the company off. When they go public, they have to report a reserve report, publish a reserve report, which means that for the first time in the history since they discovered oil there, J. Paul Getty discovered oil there back 70, 80 years ago, they're going to know about plus or minus 10% how much oil the Saudis really have. Now, I'm here to tell you, they have hundreds of trillions of barrels. They're never going to run out of fucking oil in your children's lifetime. Now, they've now pulled back and they've changed 3 times the date of the public offering. 3 times in the last 2 years. Now, 2019 looks good, but maybe not. We'll let the market dictate. Of course, oil is up from $25, $26 a barrel up to 65-ish, more or less. They don't want to publish that number if they don't have to. The price, I hear, the price, where the lines cross, supply and demand for Aramco, for the kingdom, is around $75 to $80 a barrel. Stabilized over 2, 3, 4, 5 years, not one day. Okay, so I don't see one they're going to go public, because if they do, they're going to have to tell what the reserves are. And you know what the price of oil is going to do when they say that there's 42 gazillion barrels of oil?
It's going to drop.
Like a fucking stone.
And so what does this have to do with the global warming argument?
No, because global warming is an anomaly based on hyped up by this generation for something to bitch about. We've had it. We had it 55,000 years ago. We had it 300,000 years ago. But to blame it on us is bullshit.
Isn't it not accelerated by humans and carbon emissions?
100 millionth of a percent.
Okay.
Who cares?
So this is just a scam and a sham and all this.
I'm jealous of Vice President, what's his face?
Gore.
Gore. I'm jealous. And Sally and I were on a plane with him. A few years ago, he got in trouble because of the footprint, you know, the big G3 he flies around, or G5, I guess it is. And so he was flying commercial. We were coming back from Peru, Lima. And Sally and I were down there on some safari. And I noticed, God, well, why are these guys with fucking suits in here? Business class, they had no first class. And so it's Vice President Gore. He stands up and And he's not as tall. You know, all these people that say they're 6'3", I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, he's about your height. And, you know,
Everyone says
only
I'm-
6'1". He's only 6'1". He's about...
Everyone says I'm as tall as you.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Okay. I'm not 6'1".
No.
Oh.
Okay. And
Does Gore believe in climate change, or is it all made up?
I don't know. I can't speak for the former vice president. But he's got to know the same stats I know. Now, since then, since the thing went viral because of your movie premiere, I had my crack staff do some research. And then I double-checked the research. And I found one error. You know how many people have been to the North and South Pole? Both. Since the beginning of motherfucking time? Recorded time.
Couple hundred? Just you and Sally?
No.
How many?
Not counting the teams, but the lead people.
Yeah.
10 people, plus Sally and I. 12. Since the beginning of fucking time. You know how many of those other 10 are bitching about global warming? 0. I can't wait. I was supposed to be on a panel at George Mason University last March. First it was going to be a talk. I could talk about anything, and then it wasn't. Then it was a panel, and then they wouldn't let me film it, so then I dropped out. But I was hoping global warming would come up.
And so you're saying because you were at the South and you were at the North, I mean, it doesn't make you an expert. But
No, but I talked to the experts.
Okay, and none of
these
them buy it.
journalists, these fucking journalists that are writing about this, they haven't talked to Dick. They haven't talked to anybody. Nobody's asked me what I saw there. Nobody's asked me the scientists that I met with. Yeah, 10 plus Sally and I. And Sally and I are bipolar.
And Trump doesn't buy it either.
No, he says it's a load of shit. He wishes he thought of it too, like I do.
All right.
God damn. I mean, Gore.
Why is it so
I didn't think the
divisive?
vice president was that smart, but I guess he is.
Why is this such a divisive issue? Why?
Because the world, the media is getting more liberal. The media's been liberal for a long, long time, but I mean, it's more evident. When you listen to CNN, which I do, you listen to BBC, you listen to Al Jazeera, and you listen to Fox, it's like 4 different worlds, 5 different worlds. It doesn't even sound like the same place. I believe that the news that I get from Al Jazeera, which is an Arabic station, is more probably online vis-a-vis what's happening in the Middle East. Okay. Their bias pro-Middle East is not as strong as the anti-bias from everybody else. And if you listen to CNN, I mean, CNN is just like, it's just unbelievable. They have nothing good to say. Even, that all the statistics, not all the statistics, most of the statistics, interest rates, housing starts, more blacks employed in America in history, and they don't even talk about it. They don't even talk. They talk about him grabbing some pussy, which every living man, even priests and fucking rabbis, wish that they had grabbed the pussy.
So we're just being judgmental on
Correct.
him, and we're not being fair and honest, and that's why he's going to get reelected.
Correct. He's going to crush him. And I know the next president.
Who's that?
My man, Rick Scott, the current governor of the state of Florida, where I was born. He's currently running for the Senate in his last year as governor, and he is going to be the next president of these United fucking States.
2024.
Yes, sir.
And then you're going to Washington.
Oh. Then
and you made him a billionaire.
Yes. I've made teenage multimillionaires, 17, 18, 19. The audience, what were you doing other than jacking off at 17, 18, 19? Nothing. And the biggest deal in recorded history, 500 billion. And then the president of the fucking United States of America. Doesn't get much better, and that's better than fucking sex.
Secretary of Defense, a.k.a. Secretary of War.
No, I'd go as any, for Rick, I'd go up in any position.
VP?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, and then...
Trump is laying the way for you to come in with your media footprint.
Yeah,
Trump.
I mean, it can't get any better. You know, I just had my blood labs. What do they call it when they take all your tests?
Yeah, blood work.
Yeah.
And you're 73, right?
I'll be 73 in a few weeks.
Okay.
But came back 30. I'm 30 years old. And I told you at dinner about testosterone. 3 to 6, 700 is considered okay. Better 700 than 300. Okay. Even Dave Asprey, our good friend, says that it's all right 700, 800. What's the best camera to look in the eye of?
One of these.
Okay.
Here. Yeah.
18 fucking hundred, this man. 18 fucking hundred. They never saw it that high on anybody. On a 15-year-old kid with a 12-inch hard-on.
Why is that? You're just unstoppable. You're high performance.
Oh, but like I told you, I tell the kids are talking, a lot of kids come because they can't get their willy wet, their weenie wet, right? They can't get laid, okay? So I said, if you don't think you, and then when they premature, what's it called, premature ejaculation, when you come right away,
I think so,
whatever
yeah.
it's called. Yeah. Anyway, if you don't think you can fuck all night, guys, you will not be able to fuck all night. It's that simple. It's up here.
And that's what you're teaching these kids.
Correct.
It's not just business.
No.
Okay.
How to stand up like you had a pair.
Which gets us into the snowflake.
Oh.